We are going to learn first practical of data structure using C. The name of this practical is write a C program to performing the following operations on the array, that is create array, insert array, delete and display. First of all, we have to create the array. For this, we have to include one header file, that is #include stdio.h. For this, for creating the array, we can define the maximum size of the array. For this, #define maximum size, that is 100. In the next line, we have to start the main function, that is int main. In that, we declare the variables. First variable is, first we have to declare the array, that is int array, and in that bracket maximum size. And next variable is the size, that is int size. In the next line, we have to take the input for the size of the array. For this, we have to use printf statement. We can use printf. In that, enter the number of elements. Max%d. And we can call the variable, that is maximum size, by using the comma. In next line, we can use the scanf function for the get the size from the user. In that, %d and call the size. In next line, we have to validate the size given by the user by using the if function. If statement. In if statement, size, we have to check size is less than 1, equal to, size is greater than maximum size. In that if statement, if size is less than 1 and size is greater than maximum 1, then we can enter into the if statement, that is printf. We can display the invalid array size. And return the value 1. And for the getting the elements from the user, we can use the printf statement. In that printf statement, enter the % elements :n and call the size by using comma size. And for getting the elements, we can use one for loop. In that, we can declare the I variable, and I is initialized as the 0, I equal to 0, then semicolon, I is less than size, semicolon, I plus plus. I plus plus means increment the value of size. Then int I equal to 0 means I is initialized as the 0, then 0 is compared with the size, and then we can enter into the for loop, and we can print the following statement. In printf element %d and call the I plus 1, that is the incrementation of the array. and one scanf function for storing these elements in this array and calling the array of I. That is, the zeroth position of element is stored in the array of 0, and so on this loop is work. We can run the program and get the output. First of all, enter the number of elements, means we get the size from the user. For the array, we can get 5 size. We can again run the program. Enter the number of elements, maximum 100. We can get the 5. First element we can get 2, then 3, then 4, then 5, then 6. Hence we create the array. Hello everyone, this is the second part of the first practical. In this video we are going to see how to display array using C. For this same procedure is required. Only one for loop is extra is used in the display array process. First one, we can include the header file. We can include the header file, that is #include stdio.h. And we can start the main function, that is int main. In that we have to declare the array, and the one variable for the size is n. First one, int array of 100. 100 is the maximum size of the array or limit of the array. And next variable is the n, that is the size from the user. In the next line we have to use one printf statement for the getting the size from the user, that is printf. Enter the number of elements. In the array, and one scanf function for getting the values, that is %d, and call the n, that is the size of the array. And next statement we have to get the validate the size from the user, that is using if function. In if statement we are going to check the condition n less than equal to 0 and n greater than equal to 0. Greater than 100. If n less than equal to 0 and n greater than 100, then we have enter into the if statement and print the statement invalid number of elements. And return the 1. First of all, using the /n for getting the space for the elements, and return the 1. And close the if statement. And next we have to get one printf statement for getting the elements or number of elements from the user. In printf statement, enter the % elements, :n for the spacing, and call the size, for this storing the elements, we can use the one for loop. In that for loop, we can declare the I variable, that is int I, and initializing I equal to 0. Then I less than n means size, and I plus plus, that is implementation. Then we have discussed about how to work this for loop. First we can initialize the I equal to 0, then 0 check that the n 0 is less than n or not. If this condition is true, then we can enter into this for loop and print the statement elements %d and call the I variable and then we can use one scanf statement in that %d and call the array of I, that is we can store array of 0, array of 1, array of 2, array of 3 and so on. And we have to display the array. For this we can get one extra printf statement and one extra for loop for displaying the array of elements. In that printf statement we can write array elements are, that is for display purpose, and one for loop. In that for loop we can declare the I variable and initialize as the 0, I less than n and I plus plus, same as the upper for loop. And this condition is true, then we can enter into this for loop and then print using printf statement %d and array of I, call the array of I. And one printf statement for the spacing between the elements. And return the 0 for increment function. We can run the program and see the output. Enter the number of elements in the array. We can get 5 number of elements. Then we can enter 5. First element is 1, second element is 2, third element is 3, fourth element is 4, fifth element is 5. And here we can display the array. Array elements are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But we cannot get in the space between, for that is, so we have changes in the printf statement, that is the space between the array of I and %d. Now enter the elements of the array. We can get 5. First element is 1, second element is 2, third element is 3, fourth element is 4, fifth element is 5. And we can. Hello everyone, this is the third part of first practical. In this video we are going to see how to insert the element in the array using C. For that we can include one header file, that is #include stdio.h. In next line we can define maximum size by using #define maximum size, that is 100. In next line we can start the main function, that is int main. In that we can declare the variables, that is first one we can declare the array, int array in bracket maximum size, and declare the variable n for getting the size from the user, variable I for the for loop, variable POS means the position for getting the position from the user, and for value for getting the value from the user. In next line we can take the size from the user by using printf function, that is printf enter the number of elements in the array and one scanf function for accept the elements or accept the size from the user and call the n, that is size. For that size we can validate the size of the array. For that we can use if statement. In if statement we can write one condition, that is n less than equal to 0 and n greater than equal to maximum size. If this condition is true, then we can enter into the if statement and print the statement by using printf, that is invalid number of elements. And we can write one /n for this spacing purpose. And return the value 1. In next line we can get one printf statement, or we can write one printf statement in that enter the percentage elements and call the n by using comma n, that is size. For storing purpose we can use one for loop, and in that for loop we can initialize I equal to 0. Next we can take one condition I less than n and I plus plus for increment. If this condition is true, then we can enter into the for loop and print the statement by using printf enter the %d and call the I variable by using comma I and one scanf function for store the elements in the array of I, for that %d and call the AND array of I. In next line we can again get one printf and scanf statement for getting the input from the user for value and position. In that printf statement enter the position to insert, enter the position to insert 0 to %d colon and call the n variable, that is comma n. And we can write in scanf function scanf %d comma and position, that is called the position. We can again validate this position using if statement, and in that if statement we can use one condition, that is position less than 0 and position greater than n. If this condition is true, then it enters into the if statement and print the statement by using printf invalid position. And write one /n for getting the space and return the value 1. Again we can get one printf and scanf statement for getting the value from the user. We can write printf, enter the value to insert, and we can write scanf in bracket %d and call the value, comma and value. And in next line we can shift the elements to right. For this we can use one for loop. In that for loop we can initialize I equal to n and get the condition I greater than position and I minus minus, that is decrementation. For this condition is true, then we can enter into the for loop and assign the value of array of I minus 1 to array of I. Array of I equal to array of I minus 1. Here we assign the values to the position by using array of position equal to value. And in next line n plus plus for the incrementation. Here we can insert one element, then we can updated array, we can print the updated array. For that we can use one printf statement. In that printf, array after deletion, array after insertion and one /n, and we can get one for loop. In that I is initialized as the 0, semicolon, I less than n and I plus plus. If this condition is true, we can enter into the for loop and print the statement printf in that %d, comma array of I. That is, we can store the values of array of I, that is array of 0, array of 1, array of 2 and so on. In next line we can use one printf statement and we can write, in that we can write /n and return the 0. Now we can run this code and see the output. Here enter the elements in the array. We can take 5 elements. First element is 1, second is 2, third is 3, fourth is 4, fifth is 5. In that enter the position to insert, means which position we can insert the element. That is, I insert in second position, so we can write 2 and enter the value to insert. Which value you can insert? Then I insert 10. See the output, array after insertion 1, 2, 10, 3, 4 and 5. That is the output. This is the fourth part of first practical. In this video, we are going to see how to delete the elements in the array using C. For this, we can include one header file, that is #include stdio.h. In next line, we can define the maximum size by using #define maximum size, that is 100. We can start, in next line we can start main function int min In that we can declare the variables. First of all, we can declare one array, that is int array maximum size, and in next line int n, that is size, I variable for the for loop, and position, for which position we can delete the element. In next line we can get one printf and scanf statement for getting the size from the user by using printf statement. In that printf statement we can write enter the number of elements in the array, and in scanf statement we can write %d and call the size, means n, by using comma and n. And for that size we can again validate that size by using if statement. In that if statement we can get the condition if n less than equal to 0 and n greater than maximum size. If this condition is true, then we can enter into the if statement and print this statement by using printf. We can write invalid number of elements. And return the value 1. In next line we can print the elements. For that we can take one printf statement. In that printf statement we can write enter %d elements :n and call the n, means size. In next line we can get one for loop. In that for loop I is initialized as 0, means I equal to 0, semicolon I less than n, means size, semicolon I plus plus, means incrementation. If this condition is true, we can enter into the for loop and print this statement. In printf elements %d comma I variable. We can write in next line scanf statement. In that %d comma call the array of I. In next line we can get the position from the user by using printf and scanf statement. In printf statement we can write enter the position to delete (0 to %d comma n minus 1. In next line one scanf statement. In that scanf statement we can write %d comma and call the position by using AND position. For that position we can again validate that position by using if statement. In that if statement we can get one condition, that is position less than 0 and position greater than equal to n. If this condition is true, then we can enter into the if statement and print the statement by using printf invalid position. And return the value 1. For the delete element in the array, we can use the method shift elements to the left. For that, we can use one for loop. In that for loop, I is initialized as the position. Semicolon, I is less than n minus 1. And I++ for the incrementation. In that, we can assigning the value of array of I plus 1 to array of I, that is array of I equal to array of I plus 1. And n minus minus for decrementing the position in the array. Hence we can delete the element. Then we can get one for loop for the print the updated array. For that we can use one printf statement. In that printf statement we can write array after deletion. And get one for loop. I is initialized as the 0 for I equal to 0. Semicolon, I is less than n. And I++. If this condition is true, we can enter into the for loop and we can printf %d, comma array of I. And we can store the elements in array of I, that is array of 0, array of 1, array of 2 and so on. Again we can write one printf statement for the space between the elements, that is /n, and return the 0. Now we can run the program and get the output. First we can see, enter the elements in the array. We can take 5 elements, that is first element is 2, second element is 4, third element is 6, fourth element is 8 and fifth element is 10. I can delete the position between 0 to 4. I can delete second position. Hence we can delete the second position element, that is 6, and after the updated array we can get the output 2, 4, 8.